afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on becoming a certified chamber exec. I'm Linda Rabe with the Rapid City Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am actually the CCE Commission Chair-elect, but I'm lucky enough to be able to be with you today and to talk a little bit about getting your CCE. I got my CCE in 2003, and I can tell you it was one of the best things I did for my career. So I'm excited that all of you are tuned in and want to go down this journey, and we're excited to have you. We also have on the line Susan McGuire, and she is with ACCE, and she's the Professional Development Programs Director, and Susan is your point person. She is the lady you need to go to because she's the one that has the answers. Susan, you want to say hi?
Hey, welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you're here, and I really hope you'll relax, listen, and consider the CCE when the time is right. I did want to pop in with just a few housekeeping details. The way the webinar works is that you're in listen-only mode to avoid background noise. But at the end of the webinar, you can ask questions through the question function. So the question function is on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Just type in your question, and I'll read the question to Linda, or if it's for me, I'll read it out, and then we'll answer it. And if we do run out of time, or it's sort of a very case-specific question about your personal situation, please, you can type it in, and I'll contact you later, or you can contact either Linda or I after the webinar. So we're always here to help. And then finally, the webinar is being recorded, and it should be up on the ACCE website on our webinar page by Friday, Thursday, tomorrow or Friday. In addition, I am going to send all of you a link to the recording, and I'll send you the slides. I'll throw in an application and an intent to apply form, so you'll have everything you need. So feel free to there's a lot of details today, so just relax and listen, and please be assured that we have all the information here and can provide it to you. So that's what I have. I guess I should introduce Linda more formally, and then Linda, I'll pass it back to you. Linda Rabe is President and CEO of the Rapid City Chamber of Commerce. As such, she has the privilege of being the Chamber President in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota, known as the gateway to the mountain sculptures of Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse. She's been in the chamber industry for 27 years and earned her CCE degree in 2003. So with that, Linda, take it away.
Thank you, Susan. I am going to tell you that I'm doing this blind. You are sitting in front of a computer. I am sitting in front of sheets of paper. So I'm going to have to just make sure that I say next slide and that we're all on the same page. So I'm assuming we're on slide 3, which talks a little bit about the webinar and what we're going to cover. We're going to cover a whole lot, the what, why, who, when, and how of becoming a CCE. And so by doing that, we'll be going through each of those steps. Either I'll pitch in or Susan will. We'll kind of tag team this. But the first one, slide 4, is the CCE certification process. And this is the whole purpose of getting a CCE. And the CCE designation, I'm sure you all know because you're interested in this, is that it represents the highest achievement in the chamber management profession. And you can see on the slide that it talks a lot about it, but I can tell you, as you go through these, the dedication to managerial excellence, you will grow in the process of going through the CCE. One of the things that we've noticed is some people that have gone through the CCE say, oh gosh, I've been a chamber exec for years, I'm not sure I need to go through all these steps and read all this body of knowledge. Well, I can tell you, no matter how long you've been in the presidential seat or vice presidents, we've had some vice presidents sit, you will learn something in this process and tell you that you need to read the body of knowledge, and we'll stress that, I don't know how many times as we go through, that just step through the process, and I can guarantee that you will come away with a whole new level of knowledge in the chamber executive world. It also helps in the leadership within the community. So we're excited about the process. Next slide. This talks about why get your CCE. One of the main reasons that I think most of the commissioners will tell you that it's really been great for them in the learning process, and it grows your career, and it lifts you to a different level of excellence within your expertise. For me to be able to say, I'm right now, but I'm hoping I'm working on 2 other people, that I'm the only CCE in South Dakota rises me to a different level of all the other chamber directors, and you'll find that that does that for you as well. So it elevates your personal and professional status, and also it gets you into a great group of people that are CCEs that you can tap into those expertise. If you call any chamber director and say, hey, I notice you're a CCE, I'm a CCE, or I'm applying for my CCE and I need a little help, I can tell you they will step up and help wherever you can. So it really gets you into a great peer group. So I just can't encourage you enough to step through the process and go through it, because you will not be disappointed, and you will not be regretful ever of going through the process. Next slide. Why get your CCE? It continues on. It just seems, too, that as you get your CCE, it opens up some different areas. And I know that since I've gotten my CCE, I've been able to bring back better and better information, because I've been able to tap into other CCE programs throughout the nation. And so you'll see where that just opens up a whole new opportunity as you go through. Okay, number 8, this just talks about who qualifies. And when you look through this, it's 6 years of senior level management, but I can tell you that we have opened up this experience to 4 years, but we can open it up by a case-by-case decision. And we've talked about this because there are some people that have come to us like from state chambers, and so their experience is different, or it's somebody that's been a CEO level at an organization for many years, maybe not a chamber, but a nonprofit organization. And so we want to be able to be very inclusive, and so we'll take that as a one-on-one opportunity, and so you just need to visit with us. Again, it talks about some of the other ones, a minimum of 175 professional development points, and that you can find on the ACCE website. Susan knows that website inside and out. I can't encourage you enough to go through that process, and then if you have questions, contact Susan, and she can tell you where that might fall within those. And I don't want to read the slide to you, but you can see how it breaks it all out. The only thing that we've had some concerns about or questions is about the audit. And the audit we've talked about. If you're a large chamber, they want you to have an audit every other year, but we've found that it's been kind of a struggle for some of our smaller groups. And so we've also talked a little bit about that for a smaller chamber, we can extend that to every 3 years, because we do understand that audits are very expensive. However, it's very expensive to go through something where you've made a mistake. So audits are super, super important to make sure that your chamber is totally transparent and on point, and that you're doing what you need to do. Because one of the CCE, that is like a stamp of approval saying your chamber executive knows what it takes to have a very transparent and budget-conscious and on-point organization. So that's one of the things that we talk about that, but that is also something that the CCE Commission will visit with you about and go into in a little bit more depth. Susan, is there anything you want to touch in on that? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, just one other point, going back to the eligibility requirements and the possibility that some of your previous career experience might count for up to 4 years. If you think you might, well, first of all, that type of things, among the type of things that might be relevant is if you are in a senior level position in another membership organization, such as a Convention and Visitors Bureau, another nonprofit, a state chamber association, or others. That's the kind of thing that we would be looking at. But if you think you might fall into that, my recommendations is first look and see if you have enough points otherwise, if you have 175 points, and then send me an email. My email address will be on these slides. It's all over the website on the CCE pages. Let's talk, send me a resume, and then I will forward that information to the commission leadership, and they'll make a decision. So, and do that before you fill out the application, and in terms of a final form. So, just as Linda said, talk with us. We'll get a decision made, and then you can move forward. Otherwise, I think we're good. So I'll go to the next slide, Linda.
Okay, and so the next slide should be when to apply. And so obviously, like what Susan just said, fill out your form, see if you've got your 175 points. And I would really say fill out that form just as you go. And if you have any questions, say you're coming up a few short, visit with Susan, because you might be amazed that some of the things that you think wouldn't apply would apply, and she would be able to help you on that. And, you know, it's basically, you need to apply for the CCE when you reach the point in your career that you know that that's the next step. And most chamber execs know, okay, that's my next step of self-improvement and development, is to make sure that I get that CCE. I can tell you that a lot of chambers now, that's one of the criteria, especially if you're at a smaller chamber. If you want to move to a larger chamber, you really need to have your CCE. That makes sure that you have all the credentials you need moving forward. I know when I did it, I was the vice president, and I knew if I wanted to be the president of our chamber, I had to have my CCE, because that's one of the requirements. So if you are a president and you're getting your CCE, that's fabulous, but I would also encourage you to encourage your vice presidents to be there, especially if they are in a mood that they want to move forward and they want to be considered in the future. Then it's just something that you really need to help everybody develop into that. When you're ready to focus on the preparation, and we know that some years, you know, you guys just have a lot on your plate and it's not going to work. But you know when the year is to just get it done. I can tell you that it's very easy to put it off because it is a lot of work, but you know what? It's worth every step. So sometimes you just have to say, okay, this year I am just going to do it. I'm going to get it done and press forward. So I'm hoping that it's this year. The other thing that you need to really focus on is that, you know, you need to make sure that your chamber has completed the necessary financial review and audit requirements. I know some chambers only do audits like every couple of years or every other year, but when you want to do this, you need to have those audits and financial reviews in order so that you've got them lined up, that you qualify to go forward. The deadline, it shows right here, January 9th, to get those applications in. Susan, I don't know if I want to say, Susan, do you want to add, or if you want to just jump in?
I think that's good. Actually, deadline is January 8th. But other than that, I think you covered it all.
Oh, whoops. You know what? I'm looking at an old one. It was January 9th this year. January 8th next year. Okay, perfect. So we'll go to the next one, which is the certification process, and there's 5 steps to go through our process. It begins with the application. That's the very first thing. And you know, it's kind of like if you're going to eat an elephant, you got to take it one step at a time. And so when you go through your CCE certification, it's 5 steps. So the first one that everybody just needs to focus on right now, the small first step, is the application. And so I'm going to turn it over to Susan because she is the expert in those steps.
Okay. Well, thanks, Linda. And again, just a reminder that I will send you these slides, and I will send you a recording, and I'll send you an application. So a lot of the details that we'll talk about will be provided to you. The application requires 175 professional development points, and we'll go over that in a minute, as well as some supporting documents and references. The application is on our website. We'll show you how to get there. And guidelines, which include how to fill it out, as well as how to submit it, are also on our website. The application and the documents are all submitted electronically through a link. So once you're done, it's just a matter of a few clicks. The days of notebooks are gone. A few clicks and you're done. So, and again, the deadline is January 8th. And just to reiterate what Linda said, I'm always available and happy to review a draft application. So especially if you're on you're not sure if you have enough, you just have enough, or you have any questions, send me an email, send me a draft, I'll take a look, we'll talk it through. I also can talk to you about ways to set up a plan to get enough points for next year if you're not quite there. So so please don't hesitate to contact me. All right, so how do you earn points? Well, points are earned by education. continuing education, ACCE conventions, state and regional conferences, ACCE conferences, webinars, and institute. So those are all examples of continuing education that give you points for your application. Professional contributions, we love these. We love professional contributions. A presenter at an ACCE convention or a state association meeting or a conference. An author, Chamber Executive Magazine. We love people who contribute to that. So if you're interested in that, give me a shout and I will connect you with our editor-in-chief of that and we'll move forward. An ACCE mentor, an ACCE volunteer of various types. They all are eligible for 5 points each. A big category, a lot of folks get points for being on the boards of chamber associations or community organizations. And it's kind of complicated. You have to look at the application, but it ranges from 2 points to 20 points depending on whether you're in a leadership position, whether you're an officer, whether it's national, whether it's local, whether it's chamber, and so on. But suffice to say, you can get quite a few points from that. And then awards, honors, other certifications, things like that also are eligible for points. Okay, now.
Susan, can I add, wait, Susan, can I add one other thing?
Sure.
I would encourage you to talk with your state organizations or like we belong to Mid-American Chamber Execs, which is a 8-state group, because I have 2 people now that I've been mentoring that want to go through their CCE, and they're like, gee, Linda, I need to be on one of these boards, or gee, I need to get published in one of the things. And one of them I've encouraged to write like a article on membership that everybody in the state could get something out of, because then that's something that I can help them out and say, I'll pick that up and I'll publish you in my investment report. And that gives them points and it gets that word out. No different than our Mid-American Chamber. We have a newsletter that goes out monthly. But if you reach out to these other chambers and ask them, they'll help you get some of these points that you need to get to be qualified.
Okay. All right, let's go. I'll go to the next slide here. So this is where are my ACCE points. So among all the different points that you can get, some of them, a lot of them, you can get through participation in ACCE events. Not totally, but many points you can get through ACCE. So we try to keep track of those, and this is just my attempt at trying to show you how to find it on the website. So you go to the home page, you click on Login, you click on My Account. So there I've logged in, and that's my account. So I'll go to the next one. You click on My Membership. That will pop up, see right there. And then on My ACCE Activity, all right? And then you see your activity report. And this is an old one for me. It's a couple of years old, actually. But you should see your activities, your convention attendance, see your sales training, events training, webinar attendance, and so on. If it's not there, you see a glaring error in our records with respect to your activity, let us know. It's still countable, but this is just our attempt at helping you keep track. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Application. So this is a summary of this boarding documents you'll need. You'll want to see the CCE page of the website for a complete description. But basically, financial statements for the last several years, including 1 year of audited statements, the last 2 years of budget, strategic plan, business plan, and annual report, your own position description, chamber organizational chart, personnel manual, resume, and then 5 references. So that's a summary of what you'll need. And again, you can submit that directly with your application via an online link. Speaking of which, let's see here. There we go. So that's the CCE page. And as you can see, you can click on the application, download that, click on the application guidelines, which are very helpful. And then that link right there, you click and follow the steps to submit your application. An application fee of $400 is also due, and there'll be instructions on how to send that, and again, the due date in January. Okay, Linda, so we are at the essay, step 2 essays. I'm going to pass it back to you.
Okay, well, the essays is the next step. Once you pass and you have enough points for your application, then Susan will notify you and say, okay, the next step is essays. And again, my date is wrong on here. I don't know what the date is, February something, 18. Because I have an old
12th.
date.
I'm sorry, it's
12th,
February
okay.
12th.
Yep, February 12th. So the one thing that I want to talk a little bit about the essays is that we have a group within the CCE. So if you have a question about what that essay should be on, you can submit your questions to that group, and Susan is part of that group, and they kind of look at what your subject and topic is going to be, and then we'll let you know if that's an appropriate topic. It's very, very important that it's within the last 3 years. That's what recent means. Within the last 3 years, something that you have done. And I want to re-emphasize that it's something that you have done, because this is something, when you write your essay, it needs to be in the I term, not we term, because they want to know what you specifically did for this topic or this project. And I would write that all out and then have somebody that you know, and you can even have Susan take a peek at this to look at your essay and run it by them, see if it's in the correct format and what you need to do to go forward. And so that, just so you know, you can approve all of this through the commissions before you go there, because we would hate for you to just think that you're going to submit a topic and then you get there and say, gee, had I known it was the wrong idea, I would have gone a different direction. So just know that Susan, again, is your contact on that. Or if you, she is a contact to get the authority, but if you want somebody else, another CCE, a mentor to read through it, I would highly encourage you to do that. And we'll talk more about mentors down the road.
Yeah, we actually have, Linda's totally correct. It's a great idea to have your essay topic reviewed by another CCE, someone you're working with as a mentor, or another CCE, and I highly encourage that. We have actually a special task force now that reviews all essay topics just to make sure that they're the kind of thing that's going to really reflect well on you and your candidacy. Because as you'll see, you also do your presentation on the same topic. So we like to get that cleared, make sure you have a good topic. You've all done great things, but you want to have the right topics that you can talk about and present to most effectively for part of this process. And as essay 2 is on your Chamber's financial procedures. Both essays just 2 pages long, double-spaced. They're not long essays, and due February 12th.
February 12th, and so then the next slide talks about the next step, which is the oral presentation and the interview. Now, this is something that will be booked in March sometime. We haven't got a date specified yet, but we try to pick a location that works for the people that are interviewing and works for the staff who has to put this together. And this is what you do is you write your essays, and then the oral presentation is on that essay. Now, we always say you don't have to have a PowerPoint, but I'm telling you, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I would put together a PowerPoint with some photographs and maybe diagrams or charts of whatever your project is. It just seems to go really well. You need to be able to stand in front of a panel. It'll be a panel of probably 3 or 4 CCEs from the commission that you give your presentation. Then that's the formal part of the presentation. Then we ask you to sit, take a deep breath, and then we talk a little bit about the presentation and how you've put this together and what your knowledge of the project was, your knowledge of the community, your knowledge of the chamber. And then we talk to you a little bit about your financial essay as well as your financial and your application. And then we also talk to you a little bit about the body of knowledge. Tell us a little bit about your budgeting expertise. Tell us a little bit of some of the other body of knowledge that you will get that list of what you need to read through, and you'll be able to look at that. And that is your next step. And once you finish your oral presentations, I think within the next 3 or 4 days, Susan would notify you and say, okay, you have passed this next step. I can't say anything else about that. I think I've covered everything. Susan, did I skip anything, or should we go on to the exam?
Yeah, it's 1 hour. The whole presentation and interview process is about an hour. So, and we hope to have, as Linda said, we hope to have a location soon. It will be in March 2018. We try to make it someplace that's, you know, easy in and out, but that information should be available soon and up on the website. So I'll go to the next slide, Linda.
And Susan will tell you too exactly when you're slotted, whether you're in the morning or an afternoon or which day it is, and so you can adjust your flight schedule. It seems like most people fly in the night before so that they have a chance to kind of regroup and be ready, and they know they're there, and you can just walk in. And we usually hold it in a hotel that's got great internet. Sometimes we've had it at the ACCE chamber offices, but we'll let you know in plenty of time so you know. And then it's really important to get with Susan on the platform to make sure that whatever you've saved your PowerPoint to works with their system. But anyway, she makes it very easy, and you can coordinate all that. Once you have finished your oral presentation, then you have passed step 2, and she'll let you know, and then it goes on to the exam. And the exam is just a written exam that talks about the in-depth knowledge. And so here again, I'm going to talk again. It's about the body of knowledge. So I can't stress enough. Buy your books, and you can start now going through that body of knowledge and reading that information. And that reading list is a must read. I can't stress that enough. I'm just going to tell you that some of the people that have not passed the exam is because that they have been a chamber director for a long time and feel like they don't need to read it. And 9 times out of 10, it's because they didn't read the body of knowledge. So I'm just encouraging you, read it all, take the time to get through it all. This is a multiple choice, short answer. You take this exam at a local CCE chamber. You can call Susan and find out where the closest one is, where you can proctor that, and they will bring you in and be the proctor of this exam. Usually takes about 4 hours to do, but 4 hours is an average. Some get done quicker, some take a little bit longer, but you have to pass that to go forward to actually get it. And so you'll see the dates there where the exam is administered, and you have any time in that time frame to get your exam done and turned in.
Yeah, I will work with you once you get to this step on scheduling your exam. It is a 4-hour exam. Some folks take maybe 3.5. Most take about 4. It's on a computer. And in terms of the reading list, it's on our CCE website. I'll send you a link to that, as well as to the body of knowledge. So it will all, and we will, I should also say that when you're in the process, we have regular conference calls with all the candidates, and we go over each of these steps when they come in detail. So it's just one step at a time. Once you pass the essay, we all gather together on a conference call and we talk about the presentation. Then once that step is done, we gather together on a conference call and talk about the exam. So there'll be plenty of time to delve into the details and all those kind of things throughout the process. Okay.
So are you on maintenance now?
I'm on body of knowledge. Let me just.
We kind of already talked about that.
Yeah, I'll just show, this is the body of knowledge, and it's on the website. And I'll just say another thing is that when I talk to folks about preparing for the exam, beyond the recommended reading, I say, look at this body of knowledge, look at the descriptions on the website. You click on one, there'll be more specific descriptions on each one. See where you have had the least recent experience, where you need to shore up your knowledge a little bit more, your skills. And then go to our information pages on our website. We have a wonderful information director, Sarah Melby, who would be happy to work with you personally to help you get some more resources and such on any of these topics. So you get to this point, Again, beyond the recommended reading, go through the body of knowledge and please make use of our information pages. There's a lot of information there.
It's also a point where you can, before we move on, I know one thing, the difference between my predecessor was an accountant. He had an accounting degree. And so when he was going through his CCE, he pretty much had the financials down pat. I mean, but he had no idea about human resources, had no idea about communications and those kind of things. So he spent time with our human resources manager, and then my expertise was in communications and marketing. And so we talked a lot about that. Now, on the flip side, when I was getting my CCE, I knew that I did not have an accounting degree, and I did not have more of a strategic planning degree. So what I spent my time was, I spent a lot of time in with our accountant and said, okay, walk me through this. Let me understand it specifically, because I'd been working with the budget and I'd been working with some of those things, but that wasn't my strong point. So I spent some time there. And then from strategic planning, I had a friend in another nonprofit that did a lot of strategic planning, and people hired her to do strategic planning. So I made some appointments and spent some time with her and said, okay, let's talk about this. I need to get up to speed so that I feel comfortable with how this lays out. So I encourage you to not only do this, but reach out to people who you know are experts in it. Okay, so now let's flip over to maintenance.
All right, let me get that. Okay. All right.
Okay, so maintenance, it's important as you... Are we on it?
We are on it.
Okay. It's really important to then maintain your CCE. And we encourage people, you'll get a bill from them after 5 years to maintain that. But in that maintenance, you need to attend other seminars and webinars. And when you do that with ACCE, they keep track of all of that. Whenever you go to convention, whenever you do a district-wide thing, you get points for that. So keep track of that. And I can tell you that it does not take much to get your points. I mean, you can just go to 3 ACCE conventions and you'll have your 15 points, as well as, go to a governmental affairs meeting or something. So it's not tough to do. The nice thing about maintaining your CCE certification is, you know what? All of this certification will cross over if you do non-chamber work, or if you want to consult with other chamber organizations. If you've got your CCE, that lends a lot of credibility and also to a lot of chamber associations. And it's amazing how those 3 little letters, that CCE, can be a big distinction between one person and another. So I highly encourage you to maintain it once you've gotten it, especially after you've worked that hard. Jeez. And you can always log on to the ACCE website, and you will always see anything that you've got and the points that you've gotten to go forward.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now I'm turning it back over to you, Susan, for Are You Ready?
Are you ready? So here are the resources. We've talked about a lot of them, but it's kind of a review. This is how you get to the CCE page. So we're at the home page. We click on professional development, and we click on CCE, and there we have it. So this is part of the page with the application as it extends further and has lots more stuff on it. So how do you find the timeline? That's an important piece of information. Most of the major deadlines are there already. So here we're at CCE, we click on timeline, and here's the class of 2018 timeline. So we have, as you can see, we have all the essay deadlines, the exam time periods. We even have our conference calls set up. The major thing we will be completing or filling in is the oral presentation date. Okay, so that's the website. The CCE commissioners. So this is the 2017-2018 CCE Commission, of which Linda is chair-elect. And Linda, you want to talk about how folks may, want to use these commissioners and contact them?
Absolutely. You can see all of these, that you see which chamber they're involved with. And so if you have any questions on how to get a hold of them, I know we belong to the, what is it called, the World Chamber, and I get that book that's got all the phone numbers and all the emails on it. But if you don't have a way to contact one of these commissioners, you can call Susan and she can give you their contact information, their email or their phone numbers. But I would just highly encourage you to look for a CCE commissioner that's close, because these are great people to be a mentor for you, to help you go through your CCE commission or CCE certification. And there isn't one of them on here that wouldn't be more than happy to visit with you and be more than happy to, do whatever you need to do. I know I've listened to some oral presentations just to see, okay, am I on the right track? Is this what I should be doing? And am I saying what I need to say? And so I would just highly encourage you to reach out to one of them. And I had 2 mentors. I know we're going to talk about mentors. Let's see. I don't know when we're going to talk about it. But anyway, you can talk to any one of these. And on mentors, I made sure that I had a male and a female mentor, because men and women come at things differently. And so it worked for me to have one of each. So these are great mentors for you to consider going forward.
And all of the commission is also on the website too, so you can find them there.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, so then you should have the new class. Or did you show the new class, 2017?
Here we go. Yep, we have the new class up.
Okay, so here's a really great group to touch base with, because these guys are fresh out of the fight, so to speak. And so they would be able to give you a really great perspective of what it's like to go through the process. And you can tell we have a really diverse group from across the U.S. So there has got to be somebody on there that you can touch base with and connect up with. It's a great group.
Yeah, it is. It's a great group.
Okay, so the next one.
CCE mentors, here we are.
Yeah, can't stress that enough. And by reaching out to the commission or to last year's class, or truly you know who's a CCE commissioner in your state. And if you don't, give Susan a call and she can tell you exactly who in your state is a CCE. But they can help you do all the things: brainstorm, review your application, review your essay. I found it very important. I went up to our boardroom, stood behind our little dais. I gave my presentation to not only my staff, but also some other close friends. I'm in a Toastmaster group. I did it in front of my Toastmaster group and said, what do you think? How should I do it differently? But they can really help you hone that in and be ready to go before the commissioners when you do this. I can't express enough how important it is to have a mentor. And again, I had a male mentor and a female mentor, and it made a big difference to me. So you can have more than one.
You can have more than one, and we like when you have at least one mentor who's local, because then they can serve as your exam proctor, because remember, you take the exam at a chamber executive's office. However, you can have mentors from across the country, so someone you've worked with or met or networked with at ACCE functions, in one of our divisions or group meetings. They can mentor you, and more than one is great. Everyone has different perspectives, and gosh, why wouldn't you want someone knowledgeable to review that essay, to review your presentation slides, to talk over your exam topic? That's gold. So please be sure to get a mentor. We will be checking in throughout the process on whether you have one, helping you find one if you haven't found one, and so on. But we do think it's very important. Okay,
and the next slide talks about Susan. It's all about Susan. She is your contact, and you can see that her name and her contact information, and you just know that she is a huge resource, and she is excellent at what she does, and can't stress enough to reach out to her if you have any questions. Reach out to one of the commissioners. We will go above and beyond to help wherever we can, and that's what they're here for. We're here to help and to be a resource and to connect you in wherever you can. I know that if you choose to go through it this year, that's got to be a priority, and I can just tell you it's a challenge, but to encourage you to just do it. Just step out and go on. a few of them, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm about ready to throw up right before the oral exam because they get so nervous. Well, part of the commissioners is to make you relax and to get through it. So just know that we're here and we're on your side, and we want to see you pass this and get through. And I also want to touch just on one short thing, that if you don't pass one of these steps, there are 3 big steps to getting your CCE. I just want you to know that you can go back and do it again, and it is not a negative. We keep it very confidential. It's not like somebody's going to say, oh my gosh, so-and-so didn't get through. That's not going to happen. We keep it very confidential. At the point that maybe you don't pass your orals or maybe you don't pass your written, touch with us. We will help you get back on track so that you can then go again through the process and finish up that next year. And if you pass your application and you pass your oral and maybe you don't pass your written, just know that the next year you just have to pass the written again. You don't have to go through all of those steps again. You just have to go through the step that you didn't pass, and it's not a negative and it's not that big of a deal to just, you know, press on and get it the next year.
Right. That's an excellent point. Excellent point, Linda. You just pick up where you left off the previous year, and you have 3 years to do that. So, yes, and we do respect the fact that you're taking your time to do this. This is really a commitment to the profession, and we try to make it easier, and we do keep everything confidential until we have a big celebration at the ACCE convention when you receive your award. So yes, and please, again, reach out to me or to a commissioner if you have questions. I answer what I can. I confer with the commission leadership where I don't know the answer, and I'm more than happy to help. So the next slide is let us know if you're in. And so this is an intent to apply form here. I'll send you a copy after the webinar. It's on our website already. If you have decided to apply, we would love for you to fill one out so we have it for planning, so we can touch base, so we can help you find a mentor if you need one. If you have questions, you're almost ready, but you have questions and you want to ask them, you can use that form to do so. But anyway, hope that many of you will decide that this is the year for your CCE, and if so, send us an intent to apply form. So I think that's it, except for questions. So if any of you all have questions about the process, please feel free to type it into the question box. Let me see here. I don't see any quite yet. If you're still thinking and if something comes up or you want to review the information before reaching out, that's fine too. Again, just to review, the webinar is being recorded. I'll try to get it up tomorrow or Friday. I'll send you a link and I'll send you the slides, and so you should have everything you need. All right, doesn't look like there's any questions. Okay, Linda, you have any final words or other pieces of advice?
No, I'm just thrilled that you chose to tune in today, and I'm hoping and encouraging you to go ahead, and I just say just do it. Sometimes you just got to take the step and get it done. And we'll help you wherever we can.
We will. Oh, wait, I think I see a question here. Hold on. What are e-courses and where is the book list? I will send you a link to the list of recommended readings specifically, okay? So I will send you that link. It's on the ACCE website. It's about half a dozen books. And e-courses are produced by ACCE University, and they consist of, there's recorded convention sessions. We have a Chamber 101 course. We have other e-courses, and you can, so that's what those are. And some of those provide very useful information to prepare for your exam. And I believe you also get points for reviewing a multi-module e-course. Those are on the ACCE University Professional Development pages. Okay, looks like that was only questions. So thank you again, everyone, for participating. We really hope you'll consider the CCE process. And again, don't hesitate to contact any of us if you have any questions. Hope all of you have a wonderful afternoon, and look for an email in the next day or two, hopefully tomorrow, but next day or two, with a link to this recording and other information. So thanks very much, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.